Alright, what's up guys, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. So today's video is a PSA return. This is on the $30 tier, which I believe was called Value. And I sent these out as soon as PSA reopened that tier a few months back. To be honest, I didn't expect to have the cards back until towards the end of the year, but PSA has been processing all of their new orders really quickly. The backlog from like 2020 still isn't finished. I still have some cards from like I think Feb 2020, which I sent out with graded gem, and those aren't back. But they've been processing the new orders much better. So these are already back, and we can get right into the grades. Now I sent about 75 cards. A lot of it is stuff that I'm probably just going to sell. Like there's nothing crazy high-end, because if it was high-end, then I sent it with a higher service tier. But there's still a lot of cool stuff to go through. And we're starting with probably the coolest cards in the submission, which is my Glossy Unlimited Super Rare collection. So I subbed 8 out of the 10 Super Rares from LOB, all Glossy Unlimited. You guys can see that high gloss finish on the surface. The first couple are the weaker ones, so this Regeki, I figured it would get either an 8 or a 9. It's clean enough for a 9, but it's kind of off center left to right pretty badly, so I figured the 8 was possible. And we got a near mint to mint 8, so that's alright. My eventual aim would be to get every holo in 9 or better, and I think I have most of it at this point. But yeah, I'll have to upgrade the Regeki at some point. Next up, we have a Dark Hole. This one I thought would get a 9. Again, you guys can see that glossy finish on the surface. It's pretty well centered compared to the Regeki, and again, nice and clean overall. We did get another 8, which was slightly disappointing because I do think this could get a 9. But yeah, I'm probably not going to crack it, considering it's not worth that much in the first place. And an 8 is still a reasonably fair grade. It's not crazy low. And next up we have a Trap Hole. Again, Glossy Unlimited print. These cards are insanely hard to find. Like, to put this sub together took, I would say, 3 or 4 years of looking for pack fresh copies. This one is really nice. I sent it expecting either a 9 or a 10, and we got a gem mint 10. So as far as I know, this is pop 1. I pretty much haven't seen any Glossy Unlimited cards graded before as 9s or higher. And yeah, I haven't seen a 10 on a Trap Hole. Next up, we have a Curse of Dragon. Paid a premium on this one to get a pack fresh copy because it took me a long time to find one. It is off center pretty badly top to bottom, so I knew it wouldn't get a 10. We got a mint 9, which is fair enough. Next up is maybe the hardest holo to find in Glossy Unlimited. I really don't know why, but Man-Eater Bug is like impossible. It took me 2 or 3 years just to find even like a raw light play copy of it. Finally got my hands on a pack fresh one earlier this year. And the centering is pretty good as well for Glossy Unlimited, so I figured this had a shot at a gem, and that's what we got. We got another gem in 10. Very, very cool. All of these Glossy Unlimited cards are just going to be staying in the collection. It's the later stuff in the submission that's going to be for sale. So here's a Glossy Celtic Guardian. This one is very clean. I pretty much thought this was a guaranteed 10. This is the kind of card where I honestly think it should be able to get a BGS 10, but I know if I send it to Beckett, it's not going to happen. So nowadays, I pretty much just send those cards to PSA. And it did get a gem in 10, which is good to see. This one is another very hard card to find in Glossy Unlimited. I have a couple of them, but only one of them that's actually clean, and I haven't seen any other truly pack fresh copies out there. Yeah, again, centering is good, so I figured it would have a decent shot at a 10, and that's what we got. Another gem mint 10. So the beginning of their turn, to be honest, is amazing. I would have been okay with most of these if they just got 9s, aside from the Celtic, because they weren't perfect. But yeah, getting 10s is really awesome on these cards. Next up is a Glossy Unlimited Mystical Elf. I actually subbed 2 of these. So the first one is well centered. It has like one tiny white nick on the back, and that got a 9. I might resub this, honestly, because I don't know if you guys can even see. There's like one tiny dot of white up here. But the card's flawless aside from that, so I feel like it probably should be able to get a 10. And then the second copy I submitted is a little bit off center, left to right, but extremely clean all around. And that one did get a gem in 10. So that takes us up to 5 out of the 10 Glossy Unlimited Supers as 10s in one return. Which is pretty crazy, considering how hard they are to find. And we're finishing off with one Wavy Unlimited card. This is a Mystical Elf. This one I was pretty much hoping for a 9 on. It's pack fresh, but it just has a few like factory defects and centering and things like that. And we actually got an 8.5 on this, which I think is the first 8.5 I've ever had from PSA. They don't give a lot of them. It's kind of a pointless grade. I don't really understand like why this card isn't just an 8 or a 9, but there you go. It is what it is. This one might be for sale, considering, yeah, I don't really have much use for an 8.5, and I'm not going to resub it either. Next up is a nice Unlimited Monster Reborn from LOB. This isn't wavy or glossy. This is a 1.5 print, but it's still got a little bit of a fade going on, a little bit of a lower title, so it's got pretty nice aesthetics for an Unlimited Monster Reborn. This one I think was like an 8 or a 9 with the condition, and we got a mint 9, so that's good. And this will be for sale. All right, now we have, if you guys remember, I had a mail day quite a while ago now, probably like 5-6 months back, where I bought two Pack Fresh First Edition Starter Decks, Kyber and Yugioh. I subbed the Ultras Express because obviously those are worth a lot more, but the Super Rares went in the value submission, and yeah, these were all really clean, so I was hoping for some 10s. Lord of D got a 10, which is nice. Fluid of Summoning Dragon next, again, very clean, very good centering. That got a 10 as well. And then, oh, one sec. Yeah, Soul Exchange from STY. I think the STY Supers were a little bit more off-center, so that got a 9. And the Card Destruction also just got a mint 9. So it's kind of nice having consecutive 9s and consecutive 10s on the STY and SDK respectively. You guys can see these are pretty heavy foil bleeders, which is not rare for starter decks, but yeah, it kind of varies. Sometimes they don't have foil bleed, sometimes they have a lot. And then I also actually sent a Dark Magician first ed. Now you guys can see this thing is beat up. The reason I sent it is because it's actually a foil shift. Not a crazy foil shift, but this is probably the most shifted first ed starter deck Yu-Gi North American Dark Magician I've seen. It's just like a few millimeters shifted to the right and a tiny bit down as well. But it's enough to have like a 3D effect across the foil, so I thought it was kind of cool. I picked it up cheap because the condition is rough. Easily in the heavy play category, I would say. I figured it would get like maybe a 3 or a 4, and we got a 4, so that's probably the best grade it could have got. Yeah, the grade isn't really important, I just kind of wanted to have it slapped up. All right, now we have just some regular first ed, I guess not LOB or MRD, but MRL to AST Holos, starting with a Toon World. I have a BGS 9.5 of this already, but this one I thought could get a 10, and that's what we got, Gem in 10. Ceasefire. Pretty much all of these are from collections I've been buying in the past year or so. Now this one I thought was very clean. I'm going to have to look it over because I was expecting a 10 pretty much, and it got a near mint to mint 8, which is kind of rough. But I guess when you send this many cards to PSA, there's always a few that get kind of outside the range you predict. Next up is a Chain Destruction. Would have loved a 10 on this, but to be honest, it is kind of too OC for a 10. And yeah, we just got a mint 9, so that's fair enough. Next up is a Dust Tornado. Probably wouldn't normally spend 30 bucks to grade a PSV Super, but this thing was like absolutely pristine, centered, everything. So I figured there's no way it wouldn't get a 10. And yeah, we got a Gem in 10. So on the whole, it's a fairly consistent sub, I would say, by PSA standards, because I've had subs in the past where even those cards that I really think they're guaranteed 10s, they don't get it. And then cards which I don't think have any chance at a 10 do get 10s. Now I sent 3 Revival Jams. This was actually the weakest copy. It's kind of off-center. I think it had 1 or 2 factory issues on the back. And this got a Gem mint 10. So I'm glad that I did get a gem, but yeah, this one wasn't so expected as most of the other 10s in this submission. And then the second copy, this one, I don't know what's up with this card. I've sent this to BGS at least once, I think maybe twice, and I've sent it to PSA 3 times. And this card is legitimately flawless. Centering is perfect. Back edges corner is perfect. Surface is like as perfect as you're gonna get on a an old school Yu-Gi-Oh card, and for some reason it just never gets gem. It's still a 9 this time as well. I'm gonna send this to CGC. That's gonna be like the final destination this goes to, and I wouldn't be surprised if this gets a CGC pristine, honestly, because the card is in amazing condition. It's just one of those weird things where no matter how many times you send it, it just keeps getting a bad grade. And we have one more, which is probably more similar to the first copy. It's a bit off center. I think this one was cleaner than the first one, but yeah, centering I think was what got it. It just got a mid-9. And this one's probably going to be for sale. Right, next up we have a Magic Cylinder, Secret Rare. I'd love a 10 on one of these, or 9.5, but pretty much every copy I've had has either had like lots of whitening on the back, or it's just being off center like this one. Like realistically, I knew this had no chance at a 10 with that kind of centering, both top to bottom and left to right. And yeah, we got a mid-9, so pretty much as expected. Next up is another one of those kind of surprises in the submission. Again, I wouldn't normally spend 30 bucks just to grade a Mask of Dispel. When I looked the card over, I thought it was like pristine. Like no way it wouldn't get a 10. I guess we can have another look. There might be something. It's kind of hard for me to judge through the camera anyway. I don't know if you guys can see anything on the card, but yeah. As far as I can tell, it's a pristine card, but it got a near mint 7, which is pretty rough. Definitely not going to make the 30 bucks back on this one. But yeah, it is what it is. Like I say, it always happens with PSA if you send this many cards. Next up we have a Royal Command. Probably the least cool Ultra from Labyrinth of Nightmare, but still a kind of nostalgic card. And this one was really clean, so that's why I sent it. And we got a gem mint 10, so yeah. I remember this was worth like $600-700 bucks at one point last year. I'm sure it's not even worth close to that anymore. I'd be surprised if it's more than 200, but it's still worth sending for 30 bucks if you can get a gem. Next up we have a Dark Ruler Hades from LOD. This is actually slightly faded. If I just bring over, so like here's the next card is a Lava Golem. You guys can probably tell it's missing a little bit of magenta compared to a normal effect monster from this era. Centering is actually pretty solid for Legacy of Darkness as well, but it did have a little bit of whitening on the back, so I didn't really expect a 10. I thought a 9 would be the right grade, and that's what it got, mint 9. And I have a very strong 9.5 of this already, so this is for sale, if anyone's interested. Right, then next up is that Lava Golem. Off-center pretty badly, so I knew this wouldn't get a 10. Honestly, it's off-center to the point where it could get an 8, but I sent it hoping for the 9. And that's what we got. We got a mint 9. I'll probably keep this just because I don't have any other graded Lava Golems or even pack fresh copies, I don't think. And then we have one more card from PGD. This one is very nostalgic for me, Question. I feel like it's not a very nostalgic card for most people in general, but I pulled one of these way back when PGD first came out, and I just had a lot of fun playing it. It's not really a good card, but it's kind of a fun card when you play it on someone for the first time and they've never seen it before, and they just get all freaked out. So yeah, I have a lot of good memories with this one. And I was hoping for a 10 on this. It's pretty much flawless, just the centering top to bottom is a bit off. But we got a mint 9, so that's one that I might resell. All right, on to Magician's Force. This is a Amazoness Swordswoman. This would be a big card if it got a 10, but you guys can see centering is off, so it wasn't going to get that. I think it is pack fresh, but yeah, I pretty much sent this thinking it's going to get a 9 no matter what, and yeah, we got a mint 9. Next up is a Y Dragonhead. This was a BGS 9.5. I think it had a 9 on surface for like no reason. I was looking it over in the case. It has amazing centering for MFC, and it looked like flawless. So I decided to crack it, send it to PSA, because a PSA 10 is quite a bit better than a basic 9.5 with 9 surface. And yeah, we got a gem mint 10, so that's nice to see. MFC is, I'd say, arguably the hardest set to grade out of the first 11. Next up is a Tribe Infecting Virus. I already have a 10 of this, so I wasn't really sending this for my own collection. I just sent it because it's packed fresh, but it is very off-center top to bottom. So 9 was the aim, but we got a near mint to mint 8. And yeah, it's off center enough that I can understand it. Right, and still one more card for MFC. This is a YZ Tank Dragon. Again, I sent this hoping for a 10. Centering is pretty good for MFC. The rest of the card is very clean, but this one just got a mint 9, so that's all right. We managed to get 110 for MFC at least, which is pretty hard, so I'm not going to complain too much. Next up, we sent a couple of Judgment of Anubis secret rares from DCR. This is another one where I feel like in general it's one of the least popular secrets from the OG era, but for me it's actually pretty nostalgic, just again from trying to play it back in the day when I pulled one. Yeah, both of these are clean, both of them have good centering, so I figured both had pretty good shots at a 10, and we actually got 2 10s, consecutive certs, so that's pretty cool. DCR is not as hard to grade as MFC, but it definitely still has its own issues, so getting 2 10s on the same card is pretty cool. Next up is a Reflect Bounder. From what I recall, this one might have had a tiny bit of wear on the back, so I was just expecting a 9, and that's what it got. Very cool. One of the most nostalgic DCR Ultras, I'd say. Next up is a Shinato, King of a Higher Plane. This one I was hoping for a 10 on. I think it is a bit off center, but it's like absolutely pristine condition. Unfortunately, we just got a mint 9, not a 10, so that's all right. I'm not sure if I'm going to resub it because it's not a very valuable card, but I'll probably just keep it in the collection as a clean 9. Next up is a Dark Flare Knight from DCR. I'd say easily the best super rare. One of the best super rares, honestly, from the whole 11 sets. Yeah, this one is off center. I don't think I was expecting a gem, and we got a mint 9 again. So yeah, lots of 9s on the old school first set holos, which honestly it's fair enough. I don't think I was expecting that many 10s because a lot of these cards, if I thought they were strong 10 candidates, I probably would have sent with a higher tier service anyway. So now from Invasion of Chaos, we just have one card. This is actually my favorite Ultra from the whole set, Guardian Angel Joan. I just always really love the artwork, love the way the foil pops on it. I think it just looks amazing. This one it's off center. I think it had some lightning on the back as well, so I was just expecting a 9, and that's what we got, mint 9. All right, and finally on to Ancient Sanctuary. We're starting with an End of Anubis secret rare. Very well centered. I think it might have had just like a little bit of scratching on the back. So it had a chance for a 10, but it was kind of borderline, and it got a mint 9, so I'm not really going to complain with that. I would like to get a 10 of this at some point. It's another one of those cards that I pulled myself back in the day, so it just has that little bit of extra like nostalgic attachment to it. But yeah, I'm fine with a 9 for now. And I sent the other secret rare from Ancient Sanctuary as well. This one I was really hoping for a 10 on. I mean, I think it deserves a 10 for one thing. But I also sold my BGS 9.5 while this one was out at PSA. So if it didn't get a 10, then I wouldn't have a gem in my collection at all anymore. And yeah, it got a 10, so all good on that front. I prefer the End of Anubis, but I think Misera de Villa is actually worth more as a PSA 10 these days. We got a Gear Golem, the Moving Fortress, one of the less good Ultras from Ancient Sanctuary, but hey, it's still an LOB to AST Ultra. And it is a bit off center, it's kind of tilted, but I figured it was just about in the range where it could get a 10. And yeah, I got a gem in 10. So very cool. I think I have maybe 5 or 6 of the AST Ultras as 10s now. I'm not really someone who goes for complete sets of graded cards. The only one I've ever done is LOB, and I don't think I'm ever going to do any others. But yeah, it's always cool to add 10s of old school Ultras to the collection regardless. This is one where I already have a 10. This one's pretty clean as well, but it's off center, so I pretty much just expected a 9 and then sell it. And that's what we got, mint 9 on this enemy controller. So yeah, that's another one of the cards that will be for sale. Next up is a Burst Stream of Destruction. I also have a 10 of this. Again, I sent like my more centered copy with a faster service because I figured it would get a 10. This one is off center, so I figured it probably wouldn't. and so I just sent it in the value service. And yeah, we got a mint 9 again. So a lot of 9s. Next up, we got one super rare from Ancient Sanctuary. This is the final first ed old school holo in the submission. Wouldn't normally spend 30 bucks to grade an AST Super, but I do like this card. It's got Jinzo in the art, and again, it was clean and centered. So it should get a 10, and that's what it got. So yeah, I have a Jinzo PSA 10 already, so this will look pretty cool next to it. All right, next up we have some like just original print unlimited stuff. Pretty much all of this I sent expecting a 10. This Mirror Force I thought would be an easy 10. Got a mint 9, which is kind of weird. I'm not sure why it got a 9. But hey, it's probably still worth more than the 30 bucks I spent to submit it, so it's all right. Then we have a Relinquished. This one is off-center. This one I thought would just get a 9. I just figured it was worth sending because it's kind of iconic. And yeah, when I sent this submission, I had like a whole bunch of cards building up. I had like 500 cards that I needed to submit to PSA or something. So I tried to sub as many things as I could justify sending for 30 bucks. And this was just about inside that cut. Yeah, we got a mint 9. I have a the value special, the $18 special they did in July. I have a massive submission for that coming back probably in a month or two. That's got like 300 cards in it. But this was just the slightly better stuff that I didn't, that I thought was like fair enough to spend 30 bucks on. And then when they opened up the $18 tier, I just went crazy and sent like almost everything I had to submit. Yeah, so next up is a Tyrant Dragon from LOD. This one I really thought would get a 10. It's got amazing centering for a Tyrant Dragon. It's very clean overall. Sadly, we just got a mint 9. I almost want to resub this. I mean, I know it's not worth it, but it would be kind of just cool to grade a 10 of an OG Tyrant Dragon, even if it's not first ed. Next up is another card that's very hard to grade in first ed, Paladin White Dragon. I don't think it's really as hard to grade in Unlimited, but this one was like pack fresh centered, so I figured it would be worth sending. Very cool card in terms of the artwork, the way the blue pops in the background, I just love it. And yeah, we got a gem mint 10, so honestly, I have no idea what that's worth, but pretty cool card. Next up is a reverse foil Thousand Dragon. I don't really remember what I was expecting on this. I feel like it's off-center, so it wasn't going to get a 10. But as far as I recall, it was pack fresh aside from that. And we got a near mint to mint 8. So that's one of those ones I'll have to kind of look over, I guess. It seems really clean from what I can see through the camera. So I don't know why it got the near mint to mint 8 off the top of my head, but yeah, it is what it is. Realistically, not going to resub a reverse foil Thousand Dragon, so this will be for sale, as is. Next up is a reverse foil Magic Cylinder, kind of a tiny bit faded as well. This one I really thought could get a 10. It's got good centering, pretty clean overall. Just got a mint 9. I'm a little bit more on the fence about this one if I want to sell it as is or not. I'd probably be open to selling it, but I would definitely consider resubbing it or maybe sending it to CGC as well, because it would be nice to get a gem on it. All right, next up is a Gemini Elf. This is not reverse foil, just a regular OG Unlimited Gemini Elf. I can't remember why, but I ended up getting 2 of these, like pack fresh in a collection I bought, and I figured they were worth sending because it's a pretty cool secret. This one got a mint 9, and the other copy, which is also a little bit faded, got a gem mint 10. So yeah, pretty cool. Both of them will be for sale because I have a first ed 10 already. Next up, very, very nostalgic card to me. This is the first secret rare that I ever pulled from a pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So it has a lot of yeah, just nostalgia, kind of sentimental attachment to me. I have a very clean first ed copy already. It's like a BGS Quad Plus 9.5. This is unlimited. Probably not worth a great amount as an unlimited card in any grade, but it was clean, so I wanted to send it anyway. And we did get a gem at 10. So yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this one. I might honestly just keep it because I love Ring of Destruction so much. But yeah, either way, very cool looking card. Next up is a Machine King from EM1. This card had so much crazy hype. I think it was like maybe 18 months ago or so. People were saying there were only 500 copies in the world, and it was like some rare promo, and I think a PSA 10 auction for over $1,000. This card is not rare. I literally know individual people who've owned more than 500 copies of it. There's a ton of these out there. In Europe, mostly, because it was for the European Mall Tour. But yeah, even if it's not rare, it's still kind of cool. I got one in with a collection, and it looked like it could get a 10, so I decided to submit it, and yeah, I got a 10. And considering I think it's a raw card, it's only like maybe 20 bucks. Pay $30 to grade it. I assume it's worth at least like maybe 200 as a 10, so it's still worth it. Next up is a JMP Red Eyes. I don't really remember the condition on it too well. It looks a bit off center, so I assume that's probably the main thing it had going on. And yeah, I got a mint 9. That one will be for sale. Now this, I actually still haven't looked this over. This is like the #1 surprising grade in the sub. I subbed this Toon Dark Magician Girl. I thought this was a 10, and we got an EX5. So I'm sure this, like, something has gone wrong here. I don't know if PSA has damaged it or what exactly. Again, I can't see that clearly because I'm looking at it through my phone screen. But yeah, I'm pretty curious what actually happened here. Is that a... Okay, is that a line going on there? Kind of looks like it. Is there something on the front? Yeah, okay. It looks like the whole card is a bit bent down there. Which, I mean, that 100% was not there when I submitted it. But yeah, I guess that is the reason it got a 5. It happens with PSA. I've had, honestly, worse damage than that before. So yeah, we got an EX5 Toon Dark Magician Girl. I'll probably just crack this and keep it raw because I like the card. But yeah, if it was going to happen to something, honestly, I'm not too mad that it happened to this because it's pretty easy to replace. But yeah, that's always the risky run when you send cards to PSA, folks. Next up is a Copycat Jump promo. This is the final promo, I think, that I sent. This one, I believe it's actually worth quite a lot as a 10, just because it's kind of hard to grade. It's pretty off-center. I thought it had a chance, but yeah, it got a 9. Probably because of the centering being a bit shifted top to bottom. Yeah, I'm alright with that. Alright, then, to finish, we have some Ultimate Rares. So we have a Neo-Spacian Flare Scarab. I think I was expecting a 9 on this. Got a Near Mint to Mint 8. I don't really remember exactly what the issue was with the card, but to be honest, I wasn't expecting a gem, so it's probably fair enough. Next up, we have a Brow Huntsman of Dark World. One of the better looking North American print ultis from this era, in first set anyway. It actually has a decent amount of foil pop, even though it's NA print. It's a little bit off center, so I don't think I was expecting a 10, and yeah, got a mint 9. Next up is a UFO Roid from CRV. This is a card I was originally going to send to BGS, trying to get like a really strong 9.5 or a pristine. I just don't bother with that stuff anymore. It never happens when I try it. So yeah, I sent it to PSA, realistically expecting a 10, and that's what we got. Next up we have a couple of Silent Swordsman level 3. First one has a little bit of the classic chipping on the top edge for RDS. Don't know if you guys can see that on camera. Honestly, it's still a very clean copy overall. You guys can see it has some of that stamping, but overall very solid. This one got a mint 9, which I feel like this is in the range where it could almost get a 10, but I'm okay with it getting a 9. The next one is probably the cleanest RDS Holo that I've owned. Truly like zero chipping on the top edge or any of the front edges. Very minimal, if any, kind of waxing on the back. It has that line still for the stamping, but that is on like every copy that you're going to find. So yeah, really, really clean card. I was definitely hoping for a 10 on this one, and that's what we got, Gem Mint 10. So yeah, beautiful card with foiling. Rise of Destiny has probably the nicest looking North American print ultis from any old school GX set, I would say. Just really nice foiling everywhere on the card. Then we have another RDS ulti. This is a Testalos, the Firestorm Monarch. This one is pretty significantly shifted, so this didn't have a shot at a 10, but it is clean, so I was hoping for a 9, and we got a mint 9. And final card from RDS is a Divine Wrath. Again, really cool card with the foil pattern. Just one of those cards I've always liked, and I don't think this is quite as clean as the Swordsman, but it was still very clean and like clean enough that it could get a 10 on a good day. And we got a gem mint 10, so that's really nice. All right, next up we have a Destiny Hero Dreadmaster. This is a European print. From what I recall, this did have some minor whitening, stuff like that, so it wasn't a 10, whatever happens. I think like absolute best case, it could maybe have got a 9, but it got a near mint to mint 8, and I'm completely fine with that, based on the condition of the card. Next up is actually a mislabeled card. This is labeled First Ed, but you guys can see it's unlimited. And if you watched my recent video on like European unlimited ultis, this is one of the really awesome looking Enemy of Justice Ultimate Rares. So you guys can see this thing just absolutely pops from any angle. Beautiful card. And normally these have a lot of chipping on the back. This is hands down the cleanest copy I've owned of any card from this print. This is the 2007 reprint for EOJ. So I thought this could actually get a 10. It just got a mint 9, which I'm assuming it has maybe a bit of stamping on the back or something like that, because the back edges and corners are pretty much flawless. There's pretty much zero chipping on there. But yeah, I'll still take it, even as a 9. Very cool card to look at. All right, next up we have one EN card. This is a MRD EN Time Wizard. I picked this up actually by accident. I didn't think I had one already, but I did have one in my binder. EN isn't something that I collect that actively, so I don't really know what I have and what I don't have. But after I picked it up, it looked very clean and centered as well, so I figured, hey, might as well chuck it in the value submission. And we got a gem mint 10. So I haven't checked the pop report. I assume there's more than one. But yeah, pretty cool card. And this will be for sale, because I don't really collect EN. Next up, this is a card I was really hoping for a 10 on. This is a European print MRLE Mystical Space Typhoon. And I was kind of surprised to see PSA actually changed the label. So it used to say Magic Ruler Europe, and now it says SRL Europe, which is kind of confusing because the cards don't say SRL. It is Spell Ruler, like the name of the pack is Spell Ruler, but I feel like it doesn't really work writing SRL there because it literally says MRL on the card. But yeah, very cool card. Pretty hard to find these in clean shape. This one is very clean front and back, very well centered as well. So I really thought this could get a 10, and we just got a mint 9. So I'll have to think about this one. I may resub it just because I would love to have a 10 on this, and that would for sure be pop 1. And final card for the entire submission is another European print card, Legendary Fisherman PSVE. And I love for PSV and LON, the European prints just have so much gloss on the surface. It's almost a bit like a glossy print LOB card. Like they absolutely just pop when you have the right light. The colors are super saturated and vivid as well. So yeah, this one's off center. So I wasn't expecting a 10, but I thought it would still be worth sending to get a 9. And that's what we got. Mint 9 on a European Legendary Fisherman to close out the return. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have, guys. This has been a long return video, just a lot of slabs to go through. I'm not even sure how I'm going to go through the $18 tier sub when it comes back, because it's literally like 300 cards. And if this took half an hour, then 300 cards is going to take like, you know, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I'm going to have to figure that out. But yeah, anyway, I have some other returns coming back too. We should have a CGC bulk return back very soon. And I think some other PSA returns as well on like higher tier, smaller size orders. But yeah, with that being said, this is the end of the video for now. So this is Schlost signing out, and I hope you guys all have a great day.